Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's see those threes in the comments for our panelists. We've got some great, there we go. 1 minute to go, rock. Yes, good. Hey, Jeff, how are you? We got Jeff McBride in the audience. That's great. All right, bunch of awesome people. Thank you, attendees, for joining in. Brian Cassidy, David Dens, Davidson Mulkey, Fred Berthelot? How do you say that? Gary Goodman, JQ, Jake, Jeff, and then we've got a bunch of people watching on the live stream as well. So we're excited to get that going. And if we could, thank you, Will. And if we could, let's get who do we have here as our panelists? We have a couple of people are running a little bit. Let's get those videos on. Dan Sperry, we got Steve Wachner, we got Watkins, we got William Bradshaw. All right.
Yo,
guys,
what does the threes mean? I don't know what that. I have no idea what that.
The threes. I don't know where they came from. Something tells me they came from Jeff, but they're a way to show love to whoever is currently speaking.
So the
Sounds like a cult.
Less than three.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, less than three.
Off the less than, so you
Got it.
do it over and over again.
All right, guys. Well, welcome everybody to the show, to the lecture. This is our first MagicFlix All-Stars mega lecture. We're going to feature a bunch of different really talented magicians, some of which are on your screen right now. I think Steve Wagner is trying to see if he can find a collared shirt, which is not necessary, Steve. You don't even need to have pants.
Was there a dress code?
Oh, there
I'm
you are.
here. It won't restart my camera, so I might have to leave and come back.
Do your thing, man. There's no dress code here. Look at Sperry.
Translation, he has diarrhea.
All right. So
That was between me and you.
All right, guys. So we're gonna begin. We're gonna begin right away here. We're still waiting on a couple more of our panelists, but they'll be joining us shortly. And I am going to start. So this will be a great thing. I want everyone to grab a deck of cards. If you don't currently have one, grab a deck of cards. I'm going to highlight my video and put us back on speaker view here. Good. All right. So I'm going to teach you guys a really cool thing, a move, and then a very interesting little routine that you can do with that move. And this is a move that I have learned is very intimidating. So it's one that people don't think that they can do, but once you try it, and that's why I'm asking you to actually get the cards in hand, because once you try it, you'll be surprised about how easy it is. So I'll show you the thing first. Let me see if I can get. Is any one of these attendees who are in the actual chat? Oh, by the way, I want to mention first before we get into it that we've got a whole bunch of people watching on Facebook right now as well. So if you're watching on Facebook, definitely show us some love in the comment section. Put any questions that you have about any of the routines or anything at all. Right there's Steve. Hey Steve, how are you? Put any questions that you have about any of the routines or anything like that right into the comment thread. Will is going to be watching over that for us like he normally does. So yeah, let's get it going. So anyway, everyone's got a pack of cards now, I'm sure. I'm going to switch my camera angle so that you guys can see what we're doing on the table over here. Do I have somebody? I need somebody in the Facebook comments to give me a card. Name any card. And I'm looking at the Facebook comments right now over here, so give me a card. Or maybe I'm not looking at the Facebook comments. I'm on the wrong page. Give me a card in the Two of Hearts. There we go. We got one from Jeff McBride. Two of Hearts. All right, Jeff. So that's your card, and I'm gonna find your card the easy way. I'm glad I wore pants. All right, I'm gonna find your card the easy way. Just gonna find it like this. Go through the cards. Just grab it. So the Two of Hearts. My card you've chosen for me because my card is going to be the matching card to the Two of Hearts. My card will be the Two of Diamonds. So Jeff, what I'd like you to do is give me any number between, I'll give you a hint, it's between 10 and 20. Let's go any number between 10 and 20, Jeff. 14. All right, look, out of the shuffled deck, Jeff chose Two of Hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 cards. Two of Hearts was Jeff's card. We said that my card was the Two of Diamonds. And Jeff, has found mine. So that's a lovely little trick. You can, in fact, do it on Zoom. But I'm going to teach you guys how to do the move first, okay? I know we're having a little focus issue here. I wonder, can you turn that light toward me a little bit? It might help. So, yeah, that helps. All right, so the first thing that you have to know how to do in order to do this is this wonderful little double to the table move. So it is 2 cards on the table, not 1, and they're squared up. It's a lot like that for your invisible palm, right? Those of you who have done invisible palm before, okay? What I'd like to see is have everybody who is watching now on the Facebook or in the Zoom webinar, go ahead and get your break underneath your 2 cards, however you want to get it, and then you can just grab those cards like a stage double, like this. Now there are other ways to do that, of course, but this is a very easy way. Okay, so you grab those cards like a stage double, just like this. Your middle finger's in the front, your thumb is in the back. All right? So what you're going to do now, and this is, I'm going to explain this very carefully. Okay, I'm going to explain this very carefully. So you have your first finger, your fingernail, right on the back of the cards like this. The cards are getting a little bend in them like this, and that's creating this sort of suction between them. And what you're going to do is drop the cards off of your middle finger first, and then as you, once that's done, lift your first finger off the cards while you push forward with your thumb, like that. Okay? So that's a super cool little move, which allows you to get a double to the table. Now, if you're sitting here watching, I really, really highly recommend you try this for yourself. It works on all sorts of different surfaces, right? This is obviously a nice close-up pad, but you know, here's a desk over here, works just as well. And you don't have to do it far like me. I would aim just for a little one first. And when you do this, I've done this to several magicians, and the thought when that happens is, well, obviously it's not a double, even though you're kind of holding it like a double, right? So it can't be a double because it flew across the table like that. All right? So that's the basic idea. That's the first part of this. So when Jeff mentioned the 2 of diamonds, the first thing that I did was go through here. You're going to find, well, they're together now. So let's assume we have the ace of clubs is the selection, right? They say ace of clubs. Okay, that's your card, and your card I'm going to find the easy way. So what you do is go through here, and you actually cut the ace of clubs to the top. That's the selection. And then you go through again and find the matching card. That's the ace of spades, right? So in this case, boom, like that. Obviously, this isn't revealed. This is this way. So then take this out. You got to get this back on the deck in some way. This is the simple way to do it, but you know, if you can find a justification or a better way, then by all means do it that way. But get yourself set up with a double such that you have the ace of clubs, the selection showing, and the ace of spades, the matching card in the back. Now you say, yes, so that's your card. I found it the easy way, but my card is the matching card, the ace of spades, and I want you to find it the hard way. Okay, you can give the cards a shuffle, or if you're live with somebody, you can even hand this out to be shuffled by them. All right, as long as you're not looking at this, they're not looking at this, and trust me, it looks good. All right, so once you've handed this out to be shuffled and the cards come back, they name any card, and you know, you could say any number, but I like to keep things brief, so maybe under 30, right? And Jeff said 14. So here's how this works now. You deal out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. On 13, you're going to false deal the next one, and your thumb is just going to move this top card to the side. So 14 looks like this. Okay, just like that. All right, and then, of course, you've separated those 2 cards. Now, one more point that I want to bring up about this is that as you're dealing these cards, you might be tempted to deal into one spot like this and then do the false deal over here. Well, that's not a bad idea, but I think it's better to draw this line, okay? The reason that you're drawing this line is because you're creating a motion. You're creating not emotion, but a motion. You're creating an animation, right? We're adding more cards. The eyes follow the movement of those cards as they move over toward this one. this accomplishes two things. Number one, it keeps the eyes on this pile rather than on this card. And number two, it gets your hands close to the thing so that there's no space between this card and that one. All right? So that false deal from here is just pulling back on the card, and separating these cards is just popping your, well, you'd bend your hand like you were, as if you were dealing. But so you'd have this one here, 1, 2, 3, like that. All right, so that's a super fun little thing that you can practice while, you know, watching TV, or you know, you can practice my trick while everyone else tries to teach you theirs. All right, so here, just the first move is the double to the table like that, but not like this. I always did find this way a little bit, you know, a little overly careful, right? It didn't feel quite, felt like it drew attention to itself when you do that. But this, that feels to me totally open, totally fair. Okay, so I think that should be enough for everyone to understand the trick. I have taken my 10 minutes, but if you have any questions for me, please go ahead and just mention me by name. Will's going to be keeping an eye on the questions. And let's bring in, and
well, actually, real quick, there is already a question here for you.
Already a question. Okay, I'll take it.
I'll take it. That was a perfect time from that.
Yep.
Jeff McBride wants to know what you call this effect. What is the name of this?
Oh boy. What did I call this? I in my book I called this instant ACAM, and there are some variations on it there as well. But yeah, if you're a, tell you what, I'll give you guys a deal. If you are currently a subscriber to MagicFlix, even if you're on your free trial of 30 days, I will send you my book for $10 off. It used to be $40. I'll send it to you for $30 with free shipping inside the continental US. If you like that routine and you want more stuff like it or some variations on it, if you are a member of, if you're not a member, $40, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you free shipping too. But if you are a member, I'll give you a month of MagicFlix for ordering the book. So, you know, you get your free month, and then I'll give you $10 off with free shipping. Okay? If you want to do that, you can contact me directly at kent@magicflix.com or kentaxell@gmail.com. All right, and I'll type that into the chat. Instant ACAM. That's what I was calling it.
Mm-hmm. And what was the name of your book one more time?
The book's name is Diviner Deceiver, and there's one right over there on the. Will's gonna go get my book. Oh, that's so nice.
I'm gonna look for it.
That's so nice. I'll go get it.
Yeah, all right. That's probably a better way.
I'll get it. Yeah, I'll get it. Get that social distance from me, my friend. Can they see I'm wearing shorts? Oh, damn. All right, that's fine. Here, look. There, that's what the book looks like. Creepy, no eyes beard guy. All right. All right, guys. So we're gonna. I hope everyone enjoyed that trick. We are going to, or that effect. We're gonna pass it off to Mr. Robert Watkins. To the magic community, he is Watkins, and we're going to have him unmute, and he's going to teach you guys an incredible Barry Richardson piece with his own touches. Okay.
All right. All right. Cool. So this is a routine I put together. It's going to be in my new book, and it uses Barry Richardson's business card switch, and I call it the calendar on the wall. And the reason why is because it's all about getting an extra piece of information that is apparently not written down, and this is how it works. So I start by, I'll tell you the setup, and then I'll explain what it looks like as we go. So you get a stack of blank business cards. You're going to want to pre-fold 2 billets right here. One's going to be a dummy. One's going to be the actual billet that they write on. And what I like to do is oops, it's the other one. I like to get this extra information billet. So it has a place for them to write down a name of somebody that's important to them. And then it has a place that says your birth date. So they're going to write their date of birth on there. And that's going to happen unbeknownst to the rest of the audience watching. So the setup is I put the one with the pre-written information right there on top of the stack. And it's already pre-folded as well. And you want to make sure you fold them very tightly so they're easier to switch. But that's unfolded on top of the stack. And then I take the dummy, fold it up, and it's on top of the stack like that. This is the setup inside my pocket. So at the beginning of the routine, I'll ask a participant, I'd like you to think back to the memory of your last birthday. I want you to look around this memory and just focus on the name of somebody who was there that just stands out to you. So in that setup right there, I've already got them thinking about the memory of their last birthday. So they're already thinking of their birthday, but the way that it's said is as if the name of the person that was there is the target. And that's what everybody else watching is going to perceive. So by the time they have somebody, they say they have somebody in their mind, I reach into my pocket and I take this billet and I fold it up as I'm bringing it out of my pocket, take the pen, hold it towards them, and I tell them they're going to write the name here. Whenever they're done writing this, they're going to go ahead and fold it up, but remain silent while you do that because I don't want anybody else watching to know what it is that you're thinking of. So in that script, I was able to basically tell them to fill out the entire thing, but it just seems like they're only writing down one piece of information. I've also told them to be quiet while they're doing that, as if I don't want anybody else here to know what it is that they're thinking of. And that's a pretty good little trick to make sure they stay quiet because they also don't know what you're about to do. So they have no reason to argue with you at that point. So they're going to go ahead and fill this out. And while they're doing that, I go into my pocket and I finger palm the dummy. And I can either leave it to my side, but one of the other things that I started doing whenever I'm completely surrounded is I might take this dummy billet palmed here and I'll just cover my eyes like this. This creates a totally natural position for the hand that looks like this because I'm a person that I get scared of palming things if I'm just, not doing anything with my hands. So I think this is a really good cover right here. So whenever they say they're finished, this is whenever the switch comes in. And this is something I added to it, is I like to take the pin from them first. They're holding on to it here. I take the pin, and now I'm holding the pin here, and that also hides the dummy. This is like the magic wand type of principle, right? Then I take the next, take the actual billet they wrote on, and I hold it into a kind of like an Animan grip here between the first and second fingers. I say, just verify for everybody else that you can't see what's written inside there. Whenever they do, that's when the switch takes place, and it will look like you're just folding it up like this. So here, let me move this down here. So it should look like this. Like you say, okay, we're going to keep this folded up, and the switch is done just like that. It's a super quick switch, and it looks like you're just creasing. And what's happening is this is the billet that you take from them. You have the other one palmed here. You're going to take the pin. I place it between my thumb and first finger here. Then I come here and I lift up. You want to, almost like in a hinge-like fashion, the dummy. Then this one goes in front of it. And then these fingers are going to palm this billet here. Try to get a good angle there. While the thumb and first finger here grab this one and then bring it out like that. And it's really quick if you just keep practicing doing that move slow at first, but it looks like you just put a crease in there. And then I immediately hold my hand over it like this. So now I have their billet stolen here, have the dummy here, and I'm holding my hand over it as if I'm trying to get some sort of, psychometric impressions or whatever. Then this is what I'll do next is I'll say, I try to reframe it and say, you know what? I'm actually not getting anything from this. So here, why don't you take this back, and you can hand it back to them like this, and you get kind of like a Ramsey subtlety thing going on there, and they can take it back. Now remember, they're taking the dummy. I have theirs here. I say, let me start, where was I? Oh yeah, I'm not getting anything from this. You take this back. I think I'm gonna have to get this straight from your head, which to them makes it look like I was trying to do it by getting something from the paper itself, but then I reframed it later as if that didn't work. So now I'm actually gonna have to read it straight from your mind, but we'll keep this as proof. So go ahead and hold on to this in a fist. That makes sure that they don't, or it helps aid it keeps them from wanting to open it up. So I tell them to hold it in a fist there. Then I have the pin here with their billet, and now I can go into my pocket and unfold it against the stack. So I'm going into my pocket and I unfold it. This is the actual dummy. This one has the other stuff written on it. And at this point, because I told them that it didn't work and we're gonna have to do it a different way, this is whenever I say, you know what, before we focus on this person, and I'm always tapping their hand like this as if they had just written the name of somebody down. Before focusing on this person, I want you to imagine going back into that memory and seeing a calendar on the wall. And you can see all the X's on all the days, except there's a circle around that day's date, which is your birthday. Can you think of that? Then they're thinking of their date of birth. And this is the moment when everybody else watching thinks that they're just now deciding to, or just now thinking of their date of birth, which will be written right here. Once they confirm they're thinking of that, you do your presentation, whatever that is, go into your pocket, bring out the stack, and now you will be looking at all the information. So what I'll do is I'll pretend to write something there, try to memorize both pieces of information, then I pretend to scratch it out and bring another billet from the back, write the actual date of birth, and then what I'll usually do is look here and say, is that right? And then I'll try to get another glimpse here in case I didn't, just to make sure I remember it. Then this can now go into my pocket, ask them for their date of birth, let's say November 30th or whatever you say, boom, there's your first hit. And that's a pretty big hit for everybody else watching too, because they don't even know that it was written down. And they're still holding on to what they think is their billet. Now, at this moment, there is a chance that that person will begin to be like, there's a moment they'll be like, oh, did you look at the paper? Which you don't want that to happen because you don't want everybody knowing that they wrote their date of birth on there. So what I usually do is once they start reacting to the revelation of their date of birth, I'll say, don't get distracted. I want you to focus on this person now. Just think of the person. So I can get them to shut up if I need to in that moment. Now they're thinking of the person. You can take that same piece of paper, write the name there. And now we're going to do a strategy where I write down the name that I read earlier. And I tell them, here, I'm going to switch with you, so I'll take this. You don't turn mine over yet. And now I'm taking the dummy back, open it up, and then miscall. Say the name that you just read off of their actual billet and say, go ahead and take a look and see what I wrote. They'll turn that over and see you got it right. All the attention goes over here. Nobody cares about this dummy. And then this can go in your pocket, and the routine's over. And if you did want to give them their billet back, which I would not recommend because of the extra information, but if you did, you can now go into your pocket while everybody's reacting to that and switch it back and give them their billet back just like that. So, yep, that's the calendar on the wall, and hope you liked it.
So, Watkins, I want to have you at least run through, because that was probably, for people who are new to mentalism, that was probably a lot to take in really fast.
Yeah.
So
well,
because that was if I'm thinking to myself, if I don't know mentalism, like if I don't know all the keywords and all the standard procedures, I am kind of lost in that. So what I'd highly recommend at the very least is for everyone to grab a couple pieces of paper or business cards or whatever, so that they can. You'll teach.
We'll go over the switch. Yeah, we'll go over the switch again. Yeah.
Once again, and then just give us the point by point as you go through. After you teach the switch.
All right, so let me get these here together again. All right, you get your stack of blank business cards here. And that is, these are called billets in the mentalism world, for those who don't know. And you're gonna take two. One's called a dummy, which is a fake billet. This is the one that's gonna be switched in, and then this is the one that they write on. The way the switch works, once again, is you'll have it in your finger palm here with a pen. This is their real one. When you take it back, you're going to take the pen, place it between your thumb and first finger here. Let me turn this down here. Take the pen, come over here, and then in this motion, you're going to lift up on the dummy, on the one you have palmed, in a hinge-like fashion, while this goes in here. And then you're going to do this. You're palming this one as you're bringing this one out, and it should look like a creasing motion. So goes here, just like that. Just like this. And then you can hand it back to them. And then what you're basically doing, if we just cut out all of the other stuff, just to make it as simple as possible, now that you've switched their billet and they're holding on to what they think is their billet, you can now go into your pocket, unfold it against the stack of business cards you have here, and then when you bring it out to supposedly to write down what your guess is at what they're thinking of, you're actually reading their billet right there. And then after that, like I said, once you do write down whatever it is, you can tell them you're going to switch with them and take this one back and say, don't turn that over yet, unfold here, and then miscall, which means that you're going to say the name or whatever piece of information it was that you just read off of theirs, and pretending as if you're getting it from the one that you just took from them, even though there's nothing written on there. And then everything is confirmed whenever they turn this over and they see that you were correct, and all of the attention goes away from this fake billet right here. You think that's good, Kent? Like that's the basics, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you just
I think that's good. Well, actually, let's talk for a second about well, first of all, let's give people a moment to ask you any questions. Yeah, Jeff McBride actually has a question for you. He asks,
Cool.
"What do you call this, Watkins, and is it in your book?"
it's going to be in my next one, my next book called Shadow Play. And I called this routine the calendar on the wall. And the reason being is because I feel like that's the thing that makes it seem like that's where the thought came from in that moment, even though it was written down, that extra piece of information.
Right. So this is something that I particularly like about this routine. We'll give people a chance to ask some more questions if they want on the Facebook group or on here in the chat. But yeah, the thing I love about this routine is that normally when you have an extra information billet, you have this situation where you have to just kind of randomly ask somebody. You have to kind of shoehorn that information in. You have to shoehorn in that moment, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, but you want me to get your birthday? Yeah. Okay, great, good. And then
Right.
and it's just weird. But in this case, just in case people don't already realize this, because the presentation has them imagining a calendar on the wall during their birthday party, right? And they're supposed to be going for their friend's name. It totally justifies swinging into, oh wait, now I'm seeing this date
Yeah.
that you're focusing on, right?
Yeah, that's why I think when it comes to additional information billets, it's cool if you can create some sort of scene where the two things are related in some way, so that way it just flows naturally, like you were just saying. The calendar was already in the memory there because it was their date of birth. So it's not like, just randomly, think of your date of birth now too, which also leads to more situations of somebody saying, oh, that's why you had me write it down.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So look, tell people how to support you, where to find your work, where to, when and how to give you money, whatever you want.
So
obviously watch stuff on MagicFlix because he goes into that switch in greater detail on a great video.
Yeah, I got a couple switches and stuff on MagicFlix, a bunch of other billet stuff. I had one book out that you can still get the PDF of on Penguin. It's called Jhana, Jhana. And then I have another PDF of my second book, which is Positive Negative. And that one you can order through me, through the email watkinsmentalist@gmail.com. And I believe, Kent, you said that you had some of the physical copies left. I have like 4 physical copies left of that.
I do, yeah. Positive Negative, I have 4 copies.
Yep. So if you are interested in getting one of those physical copies, you can email me as well. I also have my third book that I'm working on right now, and that is not released yet, but whenever it is, you'll be able to get it through me at watkinsmentalist@gmail.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's show some love for Watkins in the comments.
I forgot. We did have a special deal as well with those last 4 positive negatives, which they're usually 80, but I'm doing it for 60 now for those.
Right. Very good. Okay. Well, I've read all of the books and they are all very good. And you will, especially if you're any mentalists in the crowd, love the challenge cards principle in Positive Negative. And also, incidentally, he's got some new thinking on this that can apply to magic. And maybe we'll go into that in a different conversation. All right. So, Will, are you ready?
Yeah, I can jump in right now as well.
Okay, so
real quick, there was a question.
Oh, is there? Okay.
By Craig Means, and he wanted to know a terminology question. Wouldn't you call it a false call instead of a missed call? And do you know kind of what the difference between those two terminologies are?
Difference between a false call and a missed call. Go.
Oh no, I know. I don't think I did call it a false call, but it was a missed call. Same thing, same idea.
That's what Craig seems to be suggesting, that it would be called a false call instead of a missed call. And I'm actually not sure what the difference is. I guess
a false call would be when there's nothing written down on there, whereas a missed call is whenever you're reading something at the same time as saying something else, right? Like if you got a billet and you're doing like a one ahead type thing, that would be a miscall, I guess, is what I would
seems
assume.
reasonable.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take that. I'll take that. Oh, it looks like we have a question that's actually in the Q&A section here. So I will take a look at that just to be sure. Never mind. That's a question about Zoom, and I don't have time to do tech support. But I'm sure you can figure it out if you Google it. So, all right, guys, we are going to bring on another very talented magician here. This is a gentleman who has worked closely with the McBride School of Magic and Mystery here in Las Vegas. And he has performed on tour in China and all over the world. And he's a very talented magician. He's going to teach you a really cool piece of close-up magic. So get your cards. Get your cards. I want you to be prepared. I know some of you were probably caught off guard with the billets. So get your cards out and follow along with Will Bradshaw. Here he is.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in. And this is actually a piece by Jared Kump. And KJ, since you happen to be here,
Yes,
I'm going to have you assist me with this.
All right, I will.
Because this is meant to be done as a shuffle deck in play or just as a one-off piece of magic where somebody's like, hey, show me a trick, and you only have a couple minutes. So here, go ahead, take the deck of cards, and I want you to shuffle them to your heart's content.
See how you mimed, and now I'm just doing this way?
Yep, right along that way.
Great.
And once you're finished, I'll go ahead and take the deck back.
There you
Now,
go.
you're clearly a magician, and you've done magic before, but we can actually pretend that you aren't a magician. So we're going to be doing some magic here together, you and I, and we're each going to get about half the cards from the pack. So we'll divide it into about 2 equal sections here, yeah?
Yep.
And whichever pack you choose is the one you get to work with. So which one would you like?
I want this one.
That one right there. And hold it in your left hand, just like I am here in the right. And now you do everything that I do, all right? So spread through the cards, just like I am here, until you find a spot in the center where you're about happy and divide it into 2 separate packs.
Done.
Just like this. All right, now let's square up the cards so we don't accidentally drop anything.
Square them up.
Cool. The cards in your left hand, turn them all face up.
Okay.
Use your thumb of your right hand to push the face down card on top and stick it out just like that.
And in frame there, buddy.
Perfect, just like this.
Good. And then
the rest of these cards, turn them face up and place it on top so the one face down card is sticking out just like that.
All right.
A complicated way for both of us to choose a card from the pack without seeing what the card is, just like that. Now let's go for what happened. You shuffled the cards, yes?
I did.
You chose which pack you want to work with, yes?
I did.
You stopped where you wanted to stop, yes?
I did.
And you put that card face down in the pack. I haven't touched your cards at all, have I?
That is correct.
Now, I'm trying to match the card that I chose to the one that you chose in the same way that you did earlier for these people. So the perfect match of the 3 of clubs would be the 3 of spades, the 6 of clubs to the 6 of spades, 6 of diamonds, 6 of hearts. The card that I stopped at, let's see if we can get that, is the 4 of diamonds.
There we go.
Perfect, which means the perfect match from your cards is the Joker. How the heck did you get
I got the Joker.
You got that right.
He's a demon! The Joker means any card. He got me!
So that's the first time that has ever happened along those lines.
I've never seen him fail that trick. I know that trick. I've never failed that trick.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to try it again.
What happened right there?
Anyway, so what normally happens, guys,
It's the
we're
4
all
of hearts.
we're all magicians here. They match, blah, blah, blah. Let's go over the method.
Yeah. I'm super curious what was going on along those lines. There we go. 4 of hearts.
User error. That's
user error, which is me as the user.
here. Well, let's go ahead and
switch over to.
Yeah, we're gonna switch camera
one
angle
here.
here. I promise we're maintaining social distance. God, this is.
So what's going on in this particular piece?
Actually, we can probably get both hands in here and get my phone out of the way.
Perfect. Is that the deck of cards is actually shuffled, and what happens is I push the top card over and I glimpse the top card, which in this case is the 3 of clubs. And so while I'm spreading through and asking them if they're a magician, I do a quick spread, and having these large pips really helps quite a bit. And I'm looking for the matching card, and that's where I split the cards at. So in this situation, I would almost have to go all the way up to the top here and split the cards right here. Now at this point, there's a little bit of scripting that happens, because this is a really good example, because the card packs aren't even at this point. So
if they're even, that's ideal.
Yeah,
and that's when you stop, right?
Yeah. So if it's even, so let's say we were in this situation, 3 clubs right here. I spread through really quickly. I find the 3 of spades, and I just divide right there. So we each have the 3 on top. However, if the pack has both the threes, the matching cards near the top. I spread through the cards and I say, all right, are you a magician? No, this is your first time. All right, so we're going to divide the deck into about 2 equal sections, and I keep on running on until I find the match right here. And then I pull the decks apart, and I say, all right, so these are about 2 equal sections right now, yes? And clearly, of course, they would say no. And it's like, all right, I was just checking, make sure that you're paying attention. We'll add a couple more cards over to this side.
Cool.
And now we are back into that position where each pack is about half with a matching card on top.
Okay, so obviously there's an option to do a call there, but but doing it that way is much easier. You don't actually have to you don't have to do any sleight of hand that way.
Correct. And also one of the things is that you've been searching through this entire time, so kind of doing a call cut after you've spread through all the cards feels a little bit funky.
Right.
All right, so we're in this situation where each of us have a matching card on top of the pack.
Yep.
And now here, I'm going to have them, and they can be a free choice because they're exactly the same. So I'll give you that, and scoot a little closer this direction here, and a little bit more. Perfect. All right, so now what's happening is we're getting them to force the top card on themselves. So let's turn the top card face up right now just so we can see what's going on. I say spread through the cards until you find the spot where you're happy and divide it in half right there. All right. Now, one of the things is that I tell them to square up the cards so we don't accidentally drop anything, just like this. Now, the cards in their right hand or in their left hand, I tell them to turn it face up. And what this is doing, these extra steps are to kind of confuse and make them not realize when I tell them to push over the top card, it's actually from the top of the pack.
And remember, this would be face down. We're just making it easy to track.
This normally would be face down, but we're doing this right now face up, so it's easier to track. I tell them to turn the rest of the cards face up and place it so the one face down card is sticking out. So let's do that again with the cards face down, just so we can show them what it looks like. Okay. All right, so we currently are in this situation. Both the threes are on the top. Spread through the cards just like I am here until you find a spot in the center where you're happy and divide it in half. We square up the cards. The cards in your left hand, turn them all face up. Use your thumb to push over the card on top. Stick it out just a little bit. The rest of these cards, turn them face up and place it on top just like that. And now we have this beautiful moment where you ask them a series of questions, and every single question, the answer is yes. Did they shuffle the cards?
Yes.
Yes. Did they choose which pack they wanted?
Yes.
Did they stop where they wanted to stop? Yes. And did you put that card face down in your pack? And here's the important part. And I haven't touched your cards at all. And what's really cool about this language is because they consider the cards theirs when they receive them. So, in fact, I was touching the cards earlier, which is how I was able to force the top card on them. But because they don't consider the cards theirs until they're holding it, the answer to that question is yes. And when they go back and think about it, they're like, yeah, he never touched my cards.
It's a good reframe.
Right? So there's a little reframe there. And then we have this beautiful moment where the two cards match just like that.
Very good.
Yeah, and that is the routine. This is my go-to card trick because it can be done with a shuffle deck in play. It takes just a couple minutes to go through, and it's pretty straightforward, and it happens in their hand as well. And Jared Kampf is the person who created this routine originally. It's a 3-phase routine in his original performance. However, for the style that I'm going for, I just do the one phase of it because I want it to be quick, one and done. And when I'm performing out on the streets, if I'm having somebody, oh, come on, do a magic trick for me, and is fighting for this status, I just do this one trick, and I say I could show you better card tricks, or I can show you more card tricks, but I can't show you better. And so that's kind of how I go about that right there.
Well, that is an excellent trick. Let's see if we can get some. We got 666 from Jan Sperry. Beautiful. 333s from everybody. So I'm going to check on the Facebook feed here. But it looks like we're going to bring somebody else on. Let's get more of those 3s for Will. We're going to get another mentalist on here with us to teach a nice little routine. Now, I can't say enough good things about this guy. Obviously, because he's here, we know that he's a superstar. All right, big rising name in the world of mentalism. You're still muted, but that's good. And then when Watkins and I did our recent lecture tour, we included a workshop in the tour. And basically, he taught us a routine, and this is in one of his books. It's called, I believe it's called The Trick That Fooled Edison, or The Man That Fooled Edison. The Man That Fooled Edison. And that routine is a complete mentalism lesson from start to finish. Beginner, advanced, you can do it, you should do it. I don't know if he's teaching that routine now, but if he doesn't, definitely buy his book. Yeah, I was gonna say it's too much to teach now. So, but we are gonna give the and super cool bases. Almost all of his. Is it all of your content is based on those two gentlemen?
Well, it's not really a lot of it is based on them. That was
Okay.
the initial inspiration for ending up creating the effects, I guess, basically.
All right. Cool.
Yeah,
So we got him in here a little early, but that's basically the books that he's put out. The titles are all sort of based around Edison and Tesla and their sort of battle between each other. And so, guys, I want to welcome to the stage. Please welcome with some threes and some comments and questions and whatever, Mr. Steve Wachner.
Hi. First, I'm just going to kind of point out that, man, one of my least favorite things is waiting until it's your turn to go. That's like the only time that I get the nerves bubbling up inside of me. You go to a show, you know you're starting, you know you go. You come to a live chat when you know that you're one of the panelists. And
Yeah, well, we can put you away and bring you back later if you want to wait longer.
No, we've started. I'm good.
Okay.
Though I will say that my little cat Loki here, I guess he ain't going anywhere. Now, I am going to teach a mentalism thing. I do believe this is more of, what do you call it? Like, this won't be a full routine necessarily. I guess it is a full routine, but it's more about why I'm doing the things I'm doing, perhaps more so than the actual thing that I'm doing. If you're new to magic and mentalism, if you start to get into mentalism, perhaps the third thing you'll learn would be a center tear, which would basically be the idea somebody writes down a piece of information similar to what Watkins was doing earlier, and you have them write it down, you fold it up, and then you rip up the information. One of the big questions when it comes down to doing that is why are we ripping up something that we just wrote down? And hopefully, if you are new, you haven't really come across this. It's one of those things where, sure, it's illogical, but at the same time, there's a lot of things in movies that are illogical. There's a lot of things on TV shows that are illogical. And when people are in a performance scenario, they do give you a little bit of slack. So this isn't something you need to truly worry about right away. But hey, I'm going to give you a nice little justification just in case. So what we're going to do is we have our business card, similar to what Watkins did earlier. We'll have it folded up for him already. I just have a little line on mine, boop, which you can see there. And we're going to have them write down the name of a place they want to travel to. So let's do that. I'll use that as a. So I wrote down the place I want to travel to. Before I have them finish folding it up, I'm going to ask them, whoever our participant is. So today it's Loki. So I'm going to ask our participant to think of a place that they want to travel to, perhaps the next trip they'd like to go on, especially right now. I mean, we're all wanting to get out of the house. And to write down the name of that location. So we've done that. As they start to fold it up, or perhaps just before they do, I'm going to ask them to think of how much it would cost to take that trip. And then I'll have them write it down anywhere on the paper, really, like underneath is fine. Have them write down how much they think it would cost to take that trip, and then they can finish folding it up. So once they've done that, I'll ask them to place it on the table when they're done. That way it's out of their hands. And I'll say, how long do you think it would take for you to save up that money? This is just to give a little bit of time delay since they've just set it down. I don't want to immediately grab for it. It makes it seem like I'm too eager. So I'll ask them another question of just how long do you think it would take for you to save up this money to go on this trip? After they've answered, maybe it'll take a couple of months, couple of weeks, 10 years, like me and my trip to Disney World, whatever the case may be. And then I pick it up and say, Now I want you to imagine that money is no object. And at this point, that's when I'm going to tear it to do the center tear, which it's a pretty classic move. So you should be able to find it even in books and libraries and stuff, if you still find those around. But essentially, you're tearing around. I don't think it's a big deal if I do this. It's a pretty standard method. But essentially, you're tearing around the center so that the spot that they wrote in is unharmed, and you're going to have to take that piece and somehow read it later. That is something that it's not mine to teach. I don't really have anything to really add to a center tear, so I would recommend you go look up more official sources to find that kind of information. Again, Practical Mental Effects, you can find that for a couple of bucks at Amazon, local bookstores, stuff like that. Now, so what we're doing here, this is just about giving you a reason of why you're doing it. So we're saying, what if money were no object? So that makes perfect sense with them having written down the amount of money it would cost to go on the trip. We've torn it up, and it just gives a reason. It almost even feels good to the people watching, kind of vicariously through the audience. And sorry, I'm reading. Yes, Practical Mental Effects by Theo Anneman. I have a copy around somewhere with about 5,000 bookmarks in it. But now the tearing logically makes sense, theatrically makes sense, and again, it actually even feels good to do, because you just had them thinking about, oh, it would take me like weeks to kind of get all that money, and then you say, you know what if money's no object? We tear it up, we get our peek of what the location is, and now it just comes down to creating a moment for your participant, for your person that's written about this trip. You're going to start to sort of describe not so much where they're wanting to go, but you start off describing sort of a general feeling of relaxation, just kind of, it could be any trip. Maybe it's warm, getting warmth, you kind of go outside and just kind of, you just sort of breathe in the air and you just feel like a weight of bricks off of your chest. So it's really like you're kind of trying to describe just sort of this this calm, exciting feeling. You're starting off with the feelings because then people like you a little bit more. Small secret. You're talking about something that feels good to them, and then you slowly start to bring in more details. It feels like a trip maybe you've wanted to go on for a little while. This is depending on where you're at. I'm in Michigan at I don't know, the basement of a rock concert or something, and so you're describing maybe it took a while, maybe you got on a plane, you kind of flew there, it's really warm, incredibly warm, and you can see like mountains in the distance, and bright lights, bright shiny lights. You're going to a show, but you hear, what do you hear? You hear slot machines. Oh, well, of course you have time to gamble. I mean, if you are in Vegas, and then there's your reveal of what I wrote somewhere in there. Hey, there we go, Vegas. Did get only about half of it on this one, so that is another reason to look up more official stuff, because it'll give you more ways of making sure that you tear the right way and have somebody write in the correct way. That's why you want to have that little center line across. And I think that's about all I really have to say with that. I don't know if there's any, I hope that all made sense. Whether you're a beginner, that would definitely be something that you would be able to start to do eventually soon enough. And I think even if you're a bit more experienced, I'm hoping that's a nice enough justification for anybody that's been kind of itching for a reason why they're having somebody tear something up. I think that's 10 minutes. At 10 minutes?
That's Can I be done? Can I be done? Guys, if we could torment Steve with a couple of questions, that would be great. If not, let's see them threes. But Steve, tell us while we're getting questions where we can support you and how we can do that, where we can give you money.
Where
we can follow you, or
yeah, definitely. Well, I am on some of those cool online websites. I'm on the Penguin. all of my book sales this month are being, I didn't see the joke. I see that it says a joke. All my book sales this month on Penguin are being donated, to the ACLU. So if you want to support them, just buy my books. And if you want to support me, you can get in touch with me. I'm at facebook.com/theusedmagician. But yeah, search my name. You'll find some stuff here and there. You'll find me on Facebook, and I'm always up for a chat with anybody. Hey, yeah, there we go.
There it is. Okay, so yeah, we do have this was the joke from Sperry. He goes, Steve, exactly what kind of thread are you trying to hide using that backdrop?
What am I trying to hide?
Yeah. Dan, he's a mentalist. He doesn't know what you're talking about, dude.
Yeah,
I'm trying to hide that I didn't put away my Christmas decorations.
Okay, that's not where I expected that to go, but that's awesome. So, very good. Do you want to, just in the same sort of way that Watkins ran back through that switch, just in case people are totally new to it, do you want to run through exactly what's going on with the center tear there?
Yeah, I kind of half rushed through it because it's one of those things where
Terrifying anxiety, I get it.
I'm not bringing anything new to the center tear.
Sure.
So I just want to let people know to definitely go out and look for the oldest thing you can find, the cheapest, most worn down old book, because all that stuff's in there. This is not anything coming from me at all, but basically, Dan Sperry, yeah, Peak Performance is a good book as well. So basically, they've folded their information we've got it once across and once down, and that'll leave you with this this corner here, which is all the bits. So all of these corners can still open. This one here is the obvious center. It's this nice point. It's where all the points of the cards coming together. So you know their information is basically in that little spot. So then it comes down to you tearing around that spot. So I'm tearing it in half first. I'm going to kind of put these pieces over top of the other pieces, give it a turn, and now I'm tearing one side, putting that in front of everything, tearing the other side and placing that in front. And that's going to leave me towards myself. The closest piece towards myself is going to have, that one is a really good one. I didn't put a word though, but you can see literally my X.
Wow.
And my period there. So yeah, pretty good. So that's going to leave me all the information. So you have a few options. You could, the best and easiest one, honestly, is to just find a way to steal that piece on top. So just kind of taking it with your thumb and pulling it over and handing them the rest of the pieces, or just throwing them. You can do that too. Let's just say money was no object, and you just toss the pieces away, and I still have that one piece left.
Nice.
That is where, I mean, really, you're gonna need to dig into the books a little bit, because you're to read the piece of information, it's gonna take something from you. But yeah, at that point, you're down to one piece, one way or the other, that you can try to open up in real time. Or find a way, it's a little easier to find a way to do it later. But so yeah, I've torn it, put the piece together, turn it, tear that way, tear that way. I'll then start to, for a real-time peek, I'll start to open this one up, pretend to give one more tear. And then when I put those pieces back, that's when I've opened it. So then that's another way you can get a peek right then. Ask them to hold their hands out, kind of grabbing everything, closing at the same time, shoving it in their hands, maybe giving it one more tear.
Yep.
Shoving it in their hands. So there's another option of doing it. Otherwise, all I really wanted to kind of bring to you guys is as you learn more and progress more, there's a a justification and a reason to have pieces torn up after they've just written something, which is one of those like small incongruencies in our little entertainment field.
It's great. It's a great moment. Money is no object. Imagine money is no object. One thing that I love about a center tear. Now, I actually never use it, but it is something that it's just for lack of trying, honestly. But it's something you can pretty much do anywhere. I mean, if you have a piece of paper that can be ripped, you can do it. But if you have a piece of paper, there are so many like business card moves and different peaks that you actually can't do. But a center tear, you can pretty much do any time. So that's one of the major benefits. Would you agree?
Yeah, I could definitely see the benefit of it because, you grab anything that's sturdy enough to write on. You don't need to have like duplicates. You don't need to have two that look exactly the same because you're only using the one slip. There's a reason that Bert Reese did so well with his career with just tiny slips of paper. That's another great person to look up and see what kind of things you can do with little slips of paper. And Animan's work on what he believes Bert Reese did. But yeah, with the center tear, yeah, you just, I mean, you grab you can do it. I mean, honestly, you could do it with a playing card, I guess. I'm sure there's probably better ways to find written information on playing cards though, but you could do it just about any moment with something. You'll find something on you. Parking
slips.
Yeah, parking slips.
Hotel paper.
Oh God, yeah, hotel paper is great. I love that.
Those little pads that you get in your hotel.
They give you less and less of the pages each time I go, but those are still pretty great.
Okay, well, look, let's see the love for Steve. Steve, did we already go over where your books are, where we can find, where we can contact you? And
yeah, I've got books of all kinds.
Show us your books, man. Show us your beautiful books.
I got books of all sizes. This is the one that like pretty much contains everything I've written the last 3 years. There's smaller ones too. Yeah, there's a website called Mentalistry. It's really hard to say or type or whatever. Penguin I think Penguin has the most of them because a lot of them have taken off of the market as they kind of change and evolve and stuff. Or just getting in touch with me and just start a conversation, tell me where you're at, and I'll recommend you something, whether it's my work or somebody else's work. I'll try to put you in the right direction.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Steve. Everyone, let's see the threes. Let's see the love for Steve in the comments on Facebook. We got a bunch of people watching and here as well, obviously. Oh, and guys, feel free to share this video, or at least, invite more people to watch. We know it'll be recorded and it will stay live for a while. So if it follows the path of the others, it'll get a couple hundred views, which will be nice. It'll be on our YouTube channel as well in a little bit. So one thing that I just realized I forgot to really kind of finish my intro for Steve. I mean, obviously you've seen now the work and the thinking, and it's really good. But the thing was, during our workshop on our tour, we used primarily that one routine for like everything, because we could get the routine I'm talking about, the man that killed the man that fooled Edison it's just a masterclass. So if you have an opportunity, go and get that book. What book was that in?
I forgot to introduce my Hans Klock fan as a visual gag this whole time.
Okay. You want to do the visual gag now?
Yeah, I'll do it, even though I put my hair up.
I'm bringing it back to you in a sec here. Yep.
I have my Hans Klock fan for the hair and everything, and I forgot to do the joke. So the man who fooled Edison is in the book Tesla Files, which is only it's only available in physical form now. There's a few physical copies of it left. That is something that we planned on making a video for MagicFlix, and I just keep not getting around to doing it.
Well, it'll be there though. It'll be there.
Yeah, so that one will be there, but that is in Tesla Files. It's also in, as I mentioned, like War of the Currents. That's the cumulative thing, or whatever, all the stuff I've written smushed in a small big old book.
Guys, contact Steve, contact Watkins, buy these people's books, all right? Support them directly. We're going to have links to all of the things that we mention here in the comment thread right underneath, and we'll also be sure to mention all of them in the YouTube description. So we do have 3 more awesome magicians coming up, but I just want to take a moment to actually introduce everyone, because now we are all in the room together. Okay, so we have Draven here. He's going to come on in a second. Come here, Draven. Say hello. Wave to the camera. Hi.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. We have Will Bradshaw, who is now
Somewhere over
in
there.
another room. Great. He's actually he made himself appear. Oh, and he disappeared. Come back.
And
Will.
gone. Oh, I got to mute.
And he's gone. And Will, where are you? Will, there he is. You already saw Will. He's the one that messed up the card trick. All right, and then
Thanks. Thanks for
and
that.
then we have obviously we got Steve Wagner. We got Watkins laughing. That's what's up, dude?
Whoops,
Hey,
I wasn't
Watkins.
paying attention.
We got Brandon Williams, who is right here. He's from Suit and Tie FX, or Suit and Tie Magic. Amazing stuff. You're going to love his stuff. And then we have our coup de grace. At the end of the night, we're going to bring on Mr. Dan Sperry. There he is. Right over there. Yo, what's up? All right, guys. So I'm going to hand this, I'm going to bring it back to my video and hand this over to Mr. Draven. All right, Draven, to teach you something. Do you need me or do you need Will?
Yeah, stick around.
Me stick around,
You're
okay.
here. Yeah, you're here. All right.
Do you
So
want the table view as well? Or?
no, we'll do this in the hands.
Okay.
What I want to show you guys today is a fun little pseudo-mentalism thing that I developed on the Carnival Sideshow circuit, which you may or may not know. That's sort of where I got my start. I was a carny for about 10 years, working with the Freak Show Deluxe, based out of Hollywood, California. So we toured coast to coast and, you know, drive nails in your nose, eat swords, swallow flames, get out straight jackets, all that other bullshit. So this routine is...
Thank you for doing your intro for me, by the way. I'm so rude. I'm so rude. I'm so rude. Okay.
It's all good. I got it.
Love to everybody. I'm gonna go die.
Don't go too far.
I'll be right here dying.
All right. So anyways, I wanted a routine that I could do on stage that could either take 4 minutes, or if I was doing it on the streets or at I worked for the Queen Mary for 8 years for their Halloween event, Dark Harbor. I wanted something that could go on stage. I could draw a crowd if I had the bally for, you know, a larger act that was coming on or something like that. So what I settled on was taking a spin on a classic lie or truth scenario. And I put a little carny twist on it, a little pseudo-mentalism, psychometry, psychology. Yeah. And the nice thing is that I'm not a card guy. I am not a card guy. So I use a lot of basic moves. And you can, if you know how to do cards, if you studied, you know, all kinds of crazy slides and shit, spice it up. Do it your way. Like Burger King. So anyways, we're going to start with a spectator. So we're going to bring in our lovely assistant.
Me!
Me! Yes. Hello, me. We have never met before, right? We have never prearranged anything.
This is gross for touching.
Oh my God, COVID-19. All right. Okay.
It's your own COVID.
Right. So the nice thing about this is that, you know, the spectators will literally see you shuffle the cards. And I use a riffle in the air, and I'll ask the spectator, you know, is this a fair shuffle? They'll say yes.
Yes.
Usually. If they don't say yes, I'll ask them, do you see those cards mixing together?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And at some point in time, you're just going to feel a need to say stop.
Okay.
So just say stop. And you magicians in the room, you know exactly
Stop.
what we're doing. Remember that card?
Okay, got it.
Okay. I'm going to show the audience that card.
Okay, they got it.
They got it. Cards go away. At this point in time, you're in the clear. All right. You know exactly where this is going. So from here, you can totally milk this for as much time as you need to bring the audience in, pull in more people, etc. But we're going to set this up. So you've got the card. Don't say it out loud. Just remember it. Okay. And in a moment, we're going to play a game. It's called No.
Okay.
It's the name of the game, No. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want you to answer no to everything. Okay? Some of these questions, obviously, you're going to lie to me. Some of these questions, you're going to be telling the truth when you say no. So I want you to try to just keep it as base, as even between the answers as you can. I don't want you to audibly, visibly tip me off. Let me work for it. And what I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen, is I am reading the subtle tells that this gentleman is going to give me, because we all do it. We all have those little ticks, those little twitches, those little ways that we deliver our replies. And if you're smart and you know what to look for, you can't be lied to. This is why they call me a human lie detector. Watch carefully. You'll see when he lies. I want you to visualize that card right here in front of your mind. Again, your name is?
No.
Smart guy.
Ah.
And you can always play that up. It always gets a good laugh.
Yeah, Adam.
Try to catch him, see if you can get him off guard. So visualize that card right there. And I'm going to start off nice and easy. And I just want you to say no to everything. Is the card you're thinking of, is it a spade?
No.
Is it a heart?
No.
Is it a club?
No.
Is it a diamond?
No.
Did you see what he did there? Right there. When I went through those, he really downplayed one of the suits. He was exaggerated on 3, downplayed 1. Let's see if he does it again. Is the card black?
No.
Is it red?
No.
Little bit slower on the first one. A little faster, a little more sure of himself on the second one. So I'm guessing it's a black card. Is it a spade?
No.
Okay, now he's overcompensating, so obviously it's a club. And that is what we call a confirmation. So we're dealing with the club. What we've just done, ladies and gentlemen watching at home, we have just taken the entire deck of cards, 52 cards, and we cut it down to just 13. These are odds even Vegas would bet on. Watch it. Is the card a number card?
No.
Is it a letter card?
No.
Does it have a J?
No.
A Q?
No.
A K?
No.
He is way too confident. An A?
No.
Yeah, he doesn't have. Okay, so it's a number card. So we're somewhere between 2 and 10. Is it a high card?
No.
Is it a low card?
No.
Now we just went flatline. You see that? He's answering no consistently. No pause, no beat, no eyebrow twitch. High card?
No.
No. Low card?
No.
Middle of the line. Let's try this. I'm just going to run through the cards. And I want you to face the camera. I'm just going to put my hand up here on your shoulder. Okay? Just relax for me. I'm your new best friend. I'm going to rub my COVID all over you. I'm going to start naming cards. Just say no to everything. Is it a 3?
No.
A 4?
No.
A 5?
No.
A 6?
No.
A 7?
No.
I've gone past it. You're speeding up. Is it a 6?
No.
A 5?
No.
4?
No.
You paused. Go 5?
No.
6?
No.
5?
No.
7?
No.
Pass. 6 of clubs.
6 of clubs. The demon. He's a demon.
And it's that simple. So if you guys are following along at home, all you're doing, at least all I did, was I used a Hindu force, the Hindu shuffle. It's goddamn stupid simple. As I'm setting the trick up, as I'm telling them, can you see these cards shuffle? Are they mixing together? Blah, blah, blah. Whenever I want to start the routine, all I do is just bottom glimpse whatever that card is in the right packet. I let it drop all the way to the bottom. I do a bottom control, so it stays on the bottom. In this case, it's a 7 of hearts. And from this point, all I have to do is Hindu shuffle it off. And as soon as he says stop, bang, there's a 7 of hearts. I know it's a 7. He thinks it's a fair game. And from there, it's just as much bullshit as you want to play. It's interesting. If you do this routine enough, and I've been doing this for 10 years, you almost get to the point to where you can almost not even have to use a force, because they literally tell you what the card is if you watch the body language. It's subtle sometimes, but I like having the safety net. I like having the ability to force the card, and that way I always win, because you can get some rubes on stage that just want to mess with you. But it's a fun routine. please use it. If you're confident with your card handling skills, change it. You want to use a different slide or whatever, by all means, different force, go for it. But please use this. It's a very fun routine. It gets a good interaction with the audience. Works great with kids, kids and women, because you always start off, you ask the audience, I need a good liar. Who's a good liar? And if you have kids in the audience, the parents are always going to shove teenagers up at you. And if you have, if you're doing like a lounge or a club or something, you bring up the guy's wife, who's a good liar, and he'll volunteer his wife every time. The only caution I can give you guys with this routine is avoid using children who are 7 years of age and younger. It really sucks when they don't understand what a club is or a spade, or they don't understand jack, queen, or king. So I try to keep it 10 and up if you're going to work with kids in this routine. But it's a wonderful kids routine. Pack small, plays big, and milk it for all it's worth.
All right, Draven. Let's get the love in the comment section for Draven. Let's get the threes or whatever. Where do we find you? Where do we support you?
Sure. So you can find me online at The William Draven at pretty much anywhere. TheWilliamDraven.com, YouTube /TheWilliamDraven, Facebook /TheWilliamDraven, Instagram /TheWilliamDraven. And if you guys want to donate, my virtual tip jar, if you would, is always available via PayPal at TheWilliamDraven@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Good night.
Good.
God bless. Stay safe out there in COVID.
Stay safe. Yes, it's always nice when you can take a very, very simple premise and a very simple trick and turn them into something that lasts a couple of minutes and is still entertaining. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce one of my dear friends, straight out of New York City, a gentleman who is incredibly talented with close-up magic, sleight of hand, has published some material, and hopefully will show us the change that just dropped on MagicFlix, because that would be really great. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see some threes for. I'm looking for the threes right now, guys. Let's see threes for Brandon Williams out of Suit and Tie Magic. You're muted. Unmute.
Cool.
There he is.
All right, so let me just clarify the whole Suit and Tie Magic versus Suit and Tie Effects. Same company. Suit and Tie Effects is just where I release my product. Suit and Tie Magic is where I entertain. So that's one. And Kent wanted me to show you guys the change that I put out.
Watch this shit. Watch it. Oh God. Love it.
It's one of my favorites. That's not the one I'm going to teach you guys today, but this is one of my go-to effects. This one, I normally do a sandwich routine. This is, again, my go-to routine, but I'm teaching you the last part of it. This is one that I put out in Magic Magazine many, many years ago. It had one name. I didn't like it. Now I've changed it. And it's funny because I changed the name to Quarantine, but this was years before this whole thing was going on. So let me just grab a couple of cards. So as I mentioned, this would go at the end of my sandwich routine. And for my sandwich routine, I would use like jokers or 2 black cards, and this would be a free selection. Let me just show you what the move would look like. So here's a selection. Here's the 2 jokers. These are the only cards that you need. And I would have the spectator hold out their hand. Let's say this is the hand right here. So I would give them the 10. The 10 would go right here. And I want you to just watch both jokers. Now, most people think that something weird happened there. I did some sleight of hand. So let me just show you all the cards are where the cards would be. But here, hold your hand out. Again, I'm going to go as slowly as possible. Watch the 10. That goes right here. Watch the jokers. Now, even though it looks like I have 2 cards here, and you feel one here, if I just blow, I've actually got the 10. You've got both the jokers right here. So this is one of my favorite moves. This is definitely something that you want to do slowly. I've done this fairly surrounded, even though it is somewhat angle sensitive. So again, you just need 3 cards, 2 hopefully matching cards or black cards, and a free selection. Now there's a couple of different sleights in here, but it's very easy to follow. The very, very first move that I do is a fake. So I'll set the cards up like this, where their card is on the bottom, and I have it in my hand. I flip over, I pull the bottom card, which is their selection. I flip that face up, I turn it face down, I have them extend their hand, and I place their card on their hand. Now I perform what looks like a frustration count. I show the 2 jokers. I look like I'm going to perform a move, and then I pause and I say, most people, and usually the person who holds their hand out would be one of the people, most people would think that I've switched the cards or I've done some funny move. I haven't done it yet, but here, be ready. So now I'm able to put the cards back in the same position, and now I will be performing the actual sleight. But this is just to condition them that I've given them the card that they actually, that I told them that they had. So at this point, again, you set the cards up like this, but now you're going to do a bottom double. So you slide over the top card. That gives you, this gives you an opportunity to pull out the 2 bottom cards at the same time. So you pull over the top card, do a bottom double. You place that right on their hand, the top card, which is just a joker. So now you have this set up in your hand. So they think that's 10 again. You do a frustration count. You say, watch the 2 jokers. And let me just show you what you're doing with the frustration is you're showing the bottom card. You turn the packet over, peel the top card, which in this case is their selection, and you show the joker again. So in full speed, joker, peel the top card, show the joker again. At this point, I am a righty, and I'm using my left hand to hold the card, so I'm going to step the cards towards my right, like this. You're going to grab both cards and turn them up so that their card is the one closest to you and upmost. So if you guys followed that okay, let me just go over that one more time in full speed. So their card, 2 jokers, bottom double. Place that here. Frustration. Remember, the joker is going to be the top card furthest from you, and then their card would be the top closest to you. At this point, your ring fingers are going to go underneath the bottom card. Okay, that way, when you pull top card down with your thumb, it lines them up using your ring fingers. So you're here, you go in for like a blow or just shake the cards, and then you pull the card down. So it kind of looks like they fuse together. Now, from this point, you're going to perform, I don't remember what it's called. I haven't looked it up in forever, but there's a move where you're going to flip over both cards, but you're pulling the back card, the card whose back is towards the audience. You're pulling that into a tank-high palm. So essentially, you're pulling this into here. So it's being held between your thumb and your palm. Okay, so close up, it looks like this. So your right hand, in my case, is going to kind of trigger the back card into position as your other hand rotates. So this is all hiding behind the fingers. So you're here. This is an exposed slow view. And here. Obviously, in real speed, you won't really notice it, but you want to pull this card once these 2 cards are lined up to the spectator's eye. So to the camera, it would be different than if someone was looking down at the cards. So you're here, rotate. The joker is now in tank-high palm. You hold their selection with your left hand, and then you're going to go in, grab the other joker that's on their hand, flip it over, and then dump the other joker on top. So once again, in full speed, 10. That's the joker right here. Oh, and let me just tell you, if you're doing this on table, you can put like the box, because you want to give it some space for you to pick up the card, okay? Usually on the spectator's hand, I'll usually place the card towards their fingertips. That way I have some space to grab this card. So once again, frustration count. You're here, ring fingers go underneath, blow, pull down, bring these fingers up here, tankai, and this is going to grab and drop. So now it looked like switch between 2 cards for 1. So there's that. I hope you guys enjoy that. Definitely give that a try. The only place that that's published right now, again, is in Magic Magazine. I think something like May of 2013. But I will be putting this out again in maybe PDF form, maybe a quick download tutorial. But yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites, and I hope you guys like that.
Well, that was really awesome. Let's see the support for Brandon and for Suit and Tie Magic and the yes, thank you guys. Yeah, so smooth. We love that. I love that trick. I remember the first time you showed me that. I think it was at Taste of Magic in New York. It was really good. And so while people maybe generate some questions, if they have any, will you tell us where we can support you and where we can follow you?
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, so Suit and Tie Magic was my main thing. That's my performance website, my performance Instagram. So look it up. It's Suit and Tie Magic. So how I dress and what I do. So that's .com. That's the Instagram. That's the Facebook. And now I've opened up a magic shop. It's Suit and Tie FX, the letter FX.com. You can also find Suit and Tie FX on Instagram. And on there, I currently have my Sven Pro, which is a updated small cut Svengali deck, which are cut both on tops and on the sides. And Kent was one of the first people to help me out with that. He put out the original instructions for me. So we have some history with that, and it's done really well. So definitely take a look at that. I also have stripper deck, one-way force decks, all the basic stuff. I will be putting out a upgraded invisible deck, but also on there will be the tear change, which is this thing in case you guys missed it.
Invisible deck.
See, it didn't look good. Give me a second. Do it one more time for the people who may have just walked in here. So all my stuff is going to be on there, but I just made the site, so things are going up there slowly. So just be on the lookout. And again, follow Suit and Tie FX on Instagram. I will be posting when things are dropping.
Notice that is the ampersand, not the word and.
Oh no, actually it is and.
What is the word and?
The logo is ampersand, but when you type it out, it's all spelled out full.
Got it. Okay, cool. So yeah, we just have, I'm not seeing any questions. I'm just seeing a ton of love for that routine.
Let me get some ones if everybody understood that, then go quickly.
Say it again.
I just want to know if everybody caught that well. Can I just see some?
Okay, yeah. Did you, if you were watching this, did you understand what was happening? Were you following along? Let's see some confirmations of that. Give us a thumbs up, guys. Give us a thumbs up. All right, well, they're not doing it, but they're not asking any questions either. So you pretty much, very well taught, says Adam Stone. Thank you, Adam, for chiming in. 3 3s from everybody. All right, guys, we are coming to the end of this. We will leave a little time at the end for just general questions or whatever, but we are coming to our last magician for the evening. And this is a guy that hardly needs an introduction among the magic community, but let's welcome him anyway. This guy is hailed as one of the most popular and in-demand illusionists of his generation. As a result of his jaw-dropping performances on multiple record-breaking international tours, numerous network television appearances, and some of the most underground viral videos ever to plague the internet, his legion of hundreds of thousands of dedicated fans span all ages and demographics. This guy is a 2-time winner of the Merlin Award for Most Cutting Edge Magic, Most Original Magician for according to World Magic Awards on Fox TV, and his off-Broadway show was voted the best of Manhattan two times from the Manhattan Awards in New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the anti-conjurer, Mr. Dan Sperry, the shock illusionist. There he is.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Needs no introduction, but apparently you downloaded my EPK and decided to read it anywho.
There was more. I just stopped.
Yeah, thank God you stopped. Jesus Christ. I see we're dropping views already. Holy shit. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for having me here, everybody. I want to make sure you can see me okay. You can hear me okay. If you're in Zoom, put the little emoji stuff in it. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure that I can know, because I'm watching the Facebook chat as well, by throwing and slamming the thumbs up icon in the lower right corner. Throw up the hearts in the lower right corner. That'll help me know that you guys can see and hear me okay, just fine from the studio here in Las Vegas. That way we all know everybody's fine and everything's good. And also let me know exactly or thereabouts what kind of delay I'm going to be working with, so that I can try to get to questions as I see them pop up, in case William Bradshaw doesn't necessarily see him, or Kent perhaps. So that'll help kind of make sure I can go back and forth. So as opposed to what everybody else was doing so far here in this stream, I'm not actually going to teach any tricks. And I'll spare you some mentalism. Jesus criminy. I'll spare you some mentalism. But we're here anyways to just talk about some things to help maybe help level up, for lack of a better word, what any of you guys might be trying to do, whether it's mentalism or close up or stage or parlor or whatever. I mean, obviously we're able to do stuff like this, and things like these interactions are becoming more popular because of the COVID-19 thing and all of that, and this has created a platform that is potentially new to a lot of you. And I don't want to say students, but for lack of a better term and lack of a better way of putting it, I get emails and people in the industry wanting, to know about, like, what do I do, and what exactly does it take? How difficult is it to sort of level up, again, for lack of a better word, in these times like this? So, I stream now. It's on average about 4 times a week, whether it's my own live chat show. I work with another streaming show. It's an interactive gaming show for video games and stuff. It's not Magic, but I do that. And then, whether it's something like this or doing a Zoom, or David, you think that's haze? That's not. Well, it's a kind of haze. It's just not. It's not. Whatever. Shut up, Sperry. Okay, so we're having to find and utilize this as our stage now. So I think that this has even helped us as an industry and things like that, because the people want to know, like, how difficult is it to sort of get into performing now, because you can buy as many tricks as you want. You can spend all this money on tricks, but if you have no place to perform them, and maybe that's not what you want to do, that's okay too. If you don't want to perform, but if people want to actually get out there, start earning a living, start wanting to get their name out there in their community or whatever your demographic is, what is there that that you can do to, again, just level up and get your name out there and sort of without, I'm not trying to take the spoon out of anybody's mouth or anything like that, but even now with nowadays, there's magicians that I've spoken with and helped, and we've sort of, again, I don't want to call them students or consulting, but it's whatever, help them out, I guess you could say, in how to, what can you do to really bring your magic to another level. Things like this, going on Facebook Live or going on Zoom Live. It's a very small investment to get a quality webcam, a good microphone, invest in some lights. Obviously, you don't need a video wall or a crazy setup like this, but these are things that are useful to invest in. Obviously, not video wall, but a nice backdrop. Something that sets it apart, so that when you go to charge people for these kinds of things, it's not just the magic, because the magic is important, but to make your production, I'm just going to call it production value, bigger, because as is even though like these times have forced us into our living rooms, we can make it look like it's not our living room, you know, so you don't have to hide the VHSs of Debbie Does Dallas in the background or your bong or something like that. Because I'm just going to say, let's be real. We're all victims of this. We all do it. And so like, you know, to bring it to another level, to level up for the same amount of money, you can set up a very simple, like prosumer level, excuse me, streaming type setup, you know, to have a quality camera, to download these programs that allow you to restream to these various platforms to help get yourself out there more, you know, like what I did when I first came in, hit the thumbs up, hit the heart. Exactly. Brandon Williams, you know, you're saying gotta represent the brand. Absolutely. There's programs and even, you know, if you're too intimidated, by this, but I'm pretty sure, honestly, if you could do a center tear or a peak fold, you can set this up too. Trust me, it's not that hard. And so like for that money, you know, you want to reinvest in yourself and in your brand. That's a perfect word. That's a perfect phrase that Brandon Williams used here. You know, the branding of it, to just let people feel like they're seeing something special, because this is now sort of becoming our stages now, or our venues, you know, and there's a lot of close-up that was shared here, and there's a lot of close-up, I know, or even like, I guess, cabaret parlor, for lack of a better term, up on MagicFlix. And so now you can create your own environment. You have your own showroom. You're living in your own showroom right now. So why not make it cool? Make it your own. Take the viewer to another place with you by investing in getting people to help you put together something like a nice logo that could go on a backdrop or get projected, you know, with a very inexpensive projector or something like that, some lights. These are things that my buddy Jake and I, who works with me a lot, who helps, you know, be basically my production manager and live shows and stuff. He's magicdemotapes.com. Maybe some of you guys are familiar with who that is, but you know, you're able to create your own showroom. Back in the day, we would hear stories of, you know, Lance Burton getting his own showroom and, oh my God, Siegfried and Roy, da, da, da. Well, now we are in our own showroom. We're able to produce our own TV shows, our own TV series. So, and also, you know, if you're not wanting to give it away for free, if you're wanting to offer this to your clients or your demographic, whoever you're performing for and charging shows for, which a lot of guys are doing now, to now help stand out, because in the same sort of way before we were, and I'm using the word battling against each other, but that's just because that's sort of what it is. We're battling against each other to get that gig. You want to be at the front of the pack, and branding is important. Getting somebody to customize a logo for you, to help set up some lights for like $500. We were talking about $500. You can go on sites like 123dj.com, buy a simple lighting package for $75. You can get a good webcam. The webcam I'm using right now, this is not an onboard camera. This isn't the camera that's on my laptop or in my monitor. This is an external webcam that I'm using that I got on Amazon for like $75. And it's a good, you know, it's a good enough quality to allow yourself to stream or to showcase, you know, things even like in the case of what we're talking about here, that the guys have talked about before, like where do you go to buy the books or the PDFs? What you can then offer your clients is a website, whether you go through Shopify or something like that, where instead of having a back of the room sales table, which is like what we used to do a lot when we were traveling, if you traveled, and when I say we, I'm just going to say we, you used to have a table at the back of the house, the back of the room or back of the house, where you'd sell your merchandise. Well, we can't do that now. And at least for me, that was a very lucrative aspect of what I did. And usually the venues want to try to take a percentage, and you always fight with the venues. Like, you know, I don't want to give you 20%, you know, the old bag, but I get it. So now we don't have to charge that. We can create coupons, you know, where if you book the show, boom, they instantly get an email that has, you know, 10% off anything in the store. And if it's something like t-shirts, like this is a t-shirt. I get asked about, you know, merchandising a lot, because that is a big part of what I do, not only when I'm not performing like now, but it's merchandising has helped float me through this. And like I was saying before, it's helped me when I've been on tour. Every dollar, every something, you know, so like a t-shirt, like this is a t-shirt example that I have. It says Magic Show, which is just a line from my show. Notice how it doesn't have my name on it, doesn't have my face on it. It has my logo on it, but this is basically how I started when I first started putting out merchandise. I thought it was very vain to just have a big old, thing of my ugly mug on the t-shirt. Plus, you're going to have to pay for extra colors. This is a single color, very inexpensive to make, although apparel is a little bit more difficult to make your money back because it's a bigger investment initially, and what you're going to have to charge, it's going to take a while to make it back, but still worthwhile. And this is a phrase from my show that people can relate to. It's my abracadabra, it's my Ric Flair woo, it's whatever, right? So stuff like this, things like getting a proper logo. When I explain to people about getting a logo, I always refer to it as like your bat signal. Like I always say, think of your favorite musicians or favorite artists or favorite whatever. What do their names look like? What do their logos look like? And most of the time you'll see it's very consistent, So like this is an example of my logo. It's a rabbit inside of a pentagram that I had a friend of mine design for me. But this is a pop socket. Again, very inexpensive to get made. But these forms of merchandising, instead of just selling 8x10s, like who wants an 8x10 of a magician? Even if you are a magician, who wants that? That's creepy. That's weird. I don't want Copperfield staring at me while I'm sleeping, because he probably already does. But like, why? So like things like this, things that make people want to have something that represents you, but might also be able to cross over to other markets, which is why I've thought about things this way, as opposed to what, and again, nothing against what anybody else does, but this is where I've found the most success in merchandising, is taking things that are magic related and branding it to me, whatever your brand is, whatever market you want to go after, whatever demographic you want to go after. Because I know my main demographic, by watching my statistics, my stats on my social medias, and also being aware during my live shows, I know the age range. So I know pop sockets like this is something very important to that demographic, to that age group, because they all have these, right? And then things that I give away. Giveaways are important. There's McBride, you would probably remember this. I forget the name of it. And actually, Draven, you'd remember this too. AJ the Clown, the Carney Trash Clown, he has a book out, and I haven't read it in years, but he talks about Chotch and giving away things to help people remember you by. These are two things that I give away in my show, because I use, so basically I do a version of Russian roulette. And I do a thing where instead of throwing a beach ball or a paper airplane out into the audience, I throw this weird, ugly mutant baby that people have to grab. So, for example, with the smash and stab, when the person that I bring on stage survives, they get a pin. This is a pin that says, "Let's find the Broken Glass Game Club." And it says very small, "I survived Shock Illusionist Dan Sperry, the Anti-Conjurer." Okay. So it doesn't have my logo on it very big, doesn't have my name on it very big, but it's a goofy button that hopefully people are going to wear, and it'll strike up a conversation. What is that? Where did you get that? What's the Let's Find the Broken Glass Game Club? Another one I do for the mutant baby is this one. This is the Baby Stinky Babysitters Club button. These are just little things that are easy to give away, inexpensive to make, but branded to the show. It doesn't have my name, it doesn't have my photo, it doesn't have anything, but it's I'm keeping in mind to have people want to talk about, what is this? How did they get it? What is that from? Okay. And even though we're doing this stuff virtually, there's no reason why you still can't send a package ahead of time to your client or whoever you're doing a virtual show for or something like that, so they can have a really fun, interesting box, or even things as a thank you. If it's not sent before, if there's other things in the box that you're not going to have them do through the screen, things like, take 4 cards, tear them in half, take one, put it underneath, and 5 hours later, throw 2 of them in the air. Now they're down to 3. Cover, we're not talking about sending them stuff like that to do that bit, but things that if you want to do thank yous, that's something else that I've done as well. In the past, when I get hired, I always send thank yous, not just an email, but even in this virtual world we're dealing with now, sending giving them a thank you that's not just an email follow-up or a text or whatever. Hey, great to work with you, etc. Getting their address and then not even telling them, sending them just a little box. It doesn't take much, but something like a box of goodies like this that I can use as merchandise, but also as thank yous. It shouldn't cost me more than $10, but if you book the show for several hundred, that little bit can go a long way. And that's stuff that's really important to help get your name out there, to build your reputation, to also build a brand, so that the minute somebody looks at something, they go, oh, that looks like a Jeff McBride thing, or I know that's a Jeff McBride thing, or that's a Franz Harari thing, or that's a Michael Lamar. Michael Lamar doesn't really have a look. That's a terrible example, but maybe Ivan Amodai or something. He's just got that look, right? Things as simple as this. This is a lollipop that I had made that I sell, but these are things that I give away a lot too. It's a lollipop with a razor blade in it, and it tastes like sour apple, because when I do my razor blade routine, I pull razor blades out of an apple. There's a whole story of Halloween and trick-or-treating. And that's where this was inspired by. But sending them this, it's a callback to things that they watched, things that they experienced in my show, without it being self-filling and self gratification. It's more like they are in on inside jokes from the show that's going to make them remember. And things like this, I think out of all of these that I've sold, maybe a handful, not even sold, but given away, even a handful of these, maybe a handful of people have actually opened these and eaten them, even though you can, but they haven't, because it's more like a conversation piece. Exactly. Suit and tie magic. Word of mouth is sometimes the best form of advertisement. Exactly. If not the best, things like that. Things like this, a dog tag. This is a dog tag necklace that I sell. If you look close, it has a lifesaver on it. And the dog tag is actually a floss box. That's going to be kind of hard to see here, but it's actually a white floss box. It's designed to look like a box of floss, but instead of saying Crest or Johnson & Johnson, it's redesigned to say Dan Sperry, Anti-Conjurer, Lifesaver, blah, blah. Something from my show, something that people remember. Again, it doesn't really have my name big on it. It doesn't even look like a self-fulfilling thing. It's something cool that people are going to remember, wear, and share and want to talk about. And also getting back to, wanting to get out and do shows with these, virtual shows, that razor blade apple is glorious. Yeah. Thank you. And so once you have all of this stuff for these, live streaming shows, as things start to open back up, if you are probably experiencing it like I am, we're all in this together, where I don't really have shows, even shows that are postponed. They were postponed when everything locked down. I still don't have 100% confirmation that they're starting back up. So instead of me knowing I'm going to be going to this place, in September or, October, whatever, in the coming months of fall, since everything is still so uncertain, there's no reason why you couldn't use all these things that you are investing in for your live streaming shows and put them into finding a place in your backyard and putting together your own show. These are the things that I know a lot of people are doing now. They're becoming very popular across the country, is finding a local venue that you can partner with and present a show weekly. I mean, I have friends up in Detroit. I have friends in Orlando. I have friends in Colorado. So many places where people are just finding nice little local places to do a show, set up and do a show, very similar to how Jeff does, Wonderground once a month. So maybe it doesn't even have to be once a week. It can be once a week. It can be once a month, maybe twice a month, however you want, and however big or small you want to do it. I remember Bill Abbott and Bobby Motta had this deal with Dave and Buster's up in Toronto. And I think they were branching out a bit as well to try to reach out to these local places. So, and so I'm just saying too, once you invest in some lights, once you invest in a good microphone, a good camera, things like that, these are things that don't cost so much. You already have, and again, I'm not trying to take the spoon out of anybody's mouth. I'm not saying stop buying tricks or anything like that, but because you obviously have to have a good product, and that product is your show. But it's also, when I say your show, it's also not just the tricks. It's everything to bring up a professional and quality show, even if you're doing it in the back of a bar. For example, I do a show in the back of a bar called Black Magic Wednesday. I've been doing it for years. I do it at this place called the Griffin here in Las Vegas. And you can see it. It's every Wednesday. We only let 40 people in the back. So even if on slow days, or like here in Vegas too, we can have very aggressive tourist seasons, right? So even if I'm down to like let's say 15 15 people, it still feels full. You know, there's still enough people there for me to do this sort of close-up parlor experience with them. And we still bring, as you can see here, we still bring the lights. That's a photo. We bring some, we have some moving lights that we bring. That's probably overly produced. You don't necessarily have to do that. But, you know, and those are custom made trusses. These are all things that you can absolutely include, but it's a simple black backdrop, as you can see behind me. It's these custom made trusses that a buddy of mine put together for me. We did it on a deal where I did him a favor. Right. Okay. Let me finish. Let me start that over. I did him a solid.
You did him, he did you. That's fair.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You ever play Leapfrog? But like, you know, it's where, you know, I helped him out with the project. He helped me out with this project, bartering, and really, you know, these, you can see in the background there, these candles that are melted. Those are ones we just went and made those ourselves, very, you know, inexpensive, but it helps set the mood. If you can see what I'm saying, this helps set the mood. And again, with the branding, the whole look, everything. And again, this is probably a bit more overproduced than what you want to do, but it's by no means something that you shouldn't consider to build up to, because now this brings your worth, your value up even more. This brings your value up even more, and having the knowledge of, because now if you got nothing but time, you might as well invest instead of learning a move. Again, no offense. I'm not trying to, again, take the spoon or take anything out of what anybody else is doing, but instead of working on a new move or working on building a flippity flap, you know, shin limb gimmick, although I think those do require a vape pen. I might be mistaken. I think that's instead of your own method, I think that's choose your own vape flavor, but whatever, same thing. And so like, you know, instead of spending the time into that, you can get these extra production-y things to bring production value to your show and learn how to use them through tutorials and similar groups to like what we're doing right now. Obviously, I'm sure I don't even need to say it. There are many groups on Facebook, tutorials on YouTube, so many resources. I mean, I do my streams and things from a studio here in Las Vegas that I've partnered with, because they've helped me out in the past as well with my tours and stuff, you know, having these relationships, talking and helping each other out, learning from these, you know, sources that are available, taking the time to maybe put a pause on working on the magic and work on building your brand, building yourself up. I mean, something as simple as, I wasn't even going to show this, but I'll show it just to maybe, instead of talking about merch and lights and stuff, something as simple as this. This is how bored I am in quarantine now, because I've blown through everything that I've wanted to work on. I'm down to working on a zombie. This is my zombie ball. So I took a plastic Christmas tree ornament, took the cap off and repainted this zombie. So it wasn't just a silver random ball. I wanted it to look, you know, old and aged and distressed. So I looked up a couple techniques online. A couple hours later, I got an aged out zombie ball. You know, let's get to work. You know what I mean? Something as simple as that to help fit the brand, the story, or whatever it is that you're working on, that what you want to do. And this, you know, it can carry over also into your tricks, even, you know, things like, let me just say, for example, you know, some of these routines that have been taught here, you know, we're learning more method, which is great, because Rudy Kobe actually put in, I think it was his first set of lecture notes, which are worth looking up. Rudy Kobe has a great set of lecture notes. There's a point in it where he says, like, take the linking rings and just go do them. Take these routines and just go do them, and you will find a way to make it, you know, your own and adapt it. You know, I'm not a creator. I'm not really an inventor, which is the things that I've told to Kent in the past, and, you know, in talking about this sort of thing, in that, you know, I'm not really that. I'm more of an adapter. I know, usually, granted, there's always trial and error, but I know what I'm trying to look for and what I'm trying to achieve. So I take already existing things like a zombie ball. As you know, sometimes you want to just take the zombie ball gimmick and put it in your throat and run down a steep hill. They're so awful, but and hopefully mine won't fall into that category, but it might. You never know, it might. But, you know, like things to adapt these, you know, these tricks that we learned today, taking these moves, making them your own, making your own story, taking things that are already marketed things, off the shelf things. How can you make them your own? What are you into? What is your brand? What is your so what, is what we used to call it in art school. What's the so what? You know, think about that. Think about things like that. Like here's a video example. I'll just, for for now, I'll just end with this since it doesn't look like we got any questions, and hopefully not everybody's asleep because I don't know. Here, look, I can take out a deck of cards. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I got a deck of cards. Wake up. So here's a video example of something that I did. This is an effect. This is an illusion, for lack of a better term. This is an illusion that was created by somebody else. This was created by Tyler Knight. Okay, and I just took it and I wanted to make it different. You've probably seen this done a million times. And this is from one of my tours. And like we always do, overproduced, way too, tons of lights, but they got to be able to see you. At the end of the day, whether you're doing something on stage or you're streaming, they have to be able to see you. They have to be able to hear you. And whatever you're doing, whatever your stage is going to be, whether it's something virtual like this, or whether it's a physical stage like that, it needs to live up to, or not even just live up, but in my opinion, surpass expectation to provide you with a value to the layman or to whoever's hiring you. Bring instead of like pack small, play big. That's fine, but I'm more of the mindset of go big or go home, because there's also all these little phrases, under promise and over deliver. I don't like that one so much, but you get the idea, I think. But like I said, this was something that was put out by Tyler Knight, Kyle Knight, however you want to call him. And I said, I don't want to do it that way. I want to combine it with almost similar to Blaney ladder suspension. So how to fit the narrative also of what I was saying leading into this routine. I want to be able to assemble the platforms. I want it to look like it was something in a garage, to keep it more organic as opposed to just, trussing, which is how it's usually done. It's just 2 truss beds and that's it, right? So I wanted to say like, well, instead of just 2 trusses, because again, what's the so what? What's the so what? So what? It's 2 truss beds. What the hell are those? Is that a drum riser? What's the point of this? So if I have milk crates and boards, now this is, now this is something that fits better with what I was trying to do and my narrative of what my so what was. So what? So this is why I have these props. This is why I'm doing it this way. This is why it's this color, things like that. Yeah. And then so she floats and magic. Who cares? Okay. So I think you basically get the idea of what I'm trying to say. If not, buy a t-shirt from my online store. You can just go to dansperrystore.com. I don't sell magic tricks there, but that's where you can get cool stuff like the lollipop, like my decks of cards, whatever you want, my t-shirts, etc. So if we don't have any other questions, I think we're good here.
Hey, that was wonderful. I really enjoyed that. Guys, that is Dan Sperry. Let's see the support in the 3s and the comments and in the...
That was fantastic, Dan. Holy shit.
Wow.
Yes, great stuff.
That was sexy.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. Listen, unless anyone has any more questions for anyone here. Oh, here we go. Oh, Brian Cassidy is here and he's wide awake. And yep, people are saying that was great. Good. Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks, Brandon. Draven, What's up, dude? Thanks, everybody.
Yes, good job. Okay, so look, guys, I'm going to bring everyone on screen here. I think that makes us all, that brings us all on screen. Draven is not there because he's where is Draven?
I'm here.
Real shoulder. Okay, great. Guys, well, everyone, thank you so much for, let me kill my highlight. That's what's going on here. There we go. Now I believe everyone should be able to be seen. And
looks like
guys, I just want to thank everyone so much for participating. This was a lot of fun. We're going to get a bunch more views over the next couple of days. We'll put all of the links on how to support everyone right there in the comment thread, and we'll also put it in the YouTube. Wherever we post the video, we'll put links on how to support everyone. So thanks so much, everyone, for attending. We really appreciate it, and look forward to next week, where we're going to bring Draven back, and he's going to talk about how to book work and how to keep clients. Okay? And so thank you, everyone. Let's have a sign off, everyone. Thanks to Dan Sperry. Thank you, Dan.
Hey, thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Always remember, leave them wanting more.
Leave them wanting more. That's right. Oh, hell yeah. There it is. Andy's gone. All right. Thank you, Watkins. Thank you, Steve. Oh yeah, you can turn your mics on, guys. That's fine. Thank you.
Hey.
Hey.
I just went for a walk around the town, so I'm a little sweaty and
welcome back. I hope you were still
undressed.
listening in, heathen. Suit and tie. Thank you, Brandon, and thank you to Will and Draven. Guys, my name is Kent Axell. It's been a pleasure hosting these wonderful guys. Keep an eye out for the future events. We'll be doing much more of this because I think this is super fun. And of course, if you have this type of thing, where we bring together a bunch of our MagicFlix All-Stars, this doesn't have to be just for the Facebook groups. If you've got an online community, a magic community, or a magic club or something like that you'd like to have us on and host a mega lecture like this, that would be super fun. We're open to it. Just reach out. We'll totally do it if you want to help us promote the platform. So thanks everyone so much for coming, and it was great to see everyone, and everyone have a great night.
MagicFlix is the world's fastest growing online magic learning platform. From classic collections like the Greater Magic Video Library to the best in modern magic, MagicFlix is the only way to learn magic online in today's world. Use the promo code on your screen to start your no obligation free trial today.